All right, now let's work on our floating search button here. Okay, so let's go back to the home screen. So we want to put that just after, let's see, so we have a carousel, we have this grid, and then let's put the comma here. So this will have to come after this custom the notification listener. Okay, so here let's put a floating search bar. Okay, so let's create a widget for this. So here in the widgets, so maybe I'm gonna create a separate folder for keeping the widgets for the home screen. Okay, so let's right click here, new folder, let's go home widgets. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna name it like that, or maybe let's say home screen widgets .dat. Okay, now in this, let's create an, okay, sorry, I just need to rename this to home screen widget like that. Okay, so now in this home screen widgets folder, let's right click and create a new file. This is going to be floating search bar .dat. Okay, so let's create a stateless widget. Gonna name it floating search bar. Okay, so here let's pass some required argument. So required this dot unchanged. Yeah, we can pass the unchanged, and then also let's pass the, because we want to add the arrow button to press, and then it just scroll back to the bottom. Okay, so required this dot, I'm gonna call it on arrow pressed. Okay, like that. So let's initialize these. On arrow pressed is going to be like that, and then on change we're going to return a string like that. Okay, so now here let's return a positioned widget. Positioned. Okay, so here let's position this. So top is going to be 0, and then left is also going to be 0, and then right is also going to be 0. Now here let's have a child of a crypt elect. Correct. So this one, let's also now have a backfill drop of the blur. Okay, we just want to have that blur image, so we're gonna get the backdrop filter, and then we need to create the filters here. So the filter is going to be image filter dot blur. Then we're gonna need the sigma x to be 10, and also the sigma y to be 10. Then next we need to have a child of this, which is going to be the container. Okay, you can see that our assistant is already doing it. Let's click tab. Okay, if it's going to make more errors, let's just Ctrl Z to go back and then create our own child. Okay, so child, let's have a container. Okay, now inside this container, first of all, we want to give it a color. Okay, so a color, we want to have something like a transparent color. So here, let's get the, okay, not child, first let's get the color. So this, let's get the theme of context, and then scaffold background color. Let's just put some opacity with opacity of 0.8. Okay, now let's also have some padding. Okay, you can see it's good, but now it's going to create more errors. Okay, let's just do padding constant of edge inserts. Edge inserts dot o, we want to give it 8. And then what next? Now here, let's now create a child of a row widget. Okay, so the first thing, so let's give it some children. So the first thing is going to be an icon button, okay, for the arrow. Okay, icon button. So on pressed, we are going to call our on arrow pressed up there. Okay, and then for the icon, we are going to call constant of icon, which is going to come from icons dot arrow arrow upwards. Okay, arrow upwards, like this. Okay, so let's just put a comma there and a comma there. Okay, now after this arrow, we want to have an expanded where we're going to put our search bar. Okay, expanded, and then the child is going to be the text field. Okay, text field, and then this text field, first of all, we're going to have the unchanged, which returns a value. So this we're just gonna call our unchanged on top. Okay, next let's have some decoration. So this is going to be input decoration. Okay, so the first thing is going to be our hint text, which is going to say search wallpapers. Yeah, like that. And then next we're going to have a prefix icon, just the same like what we did. Is going to be a search icon, and then we're going to have some border, which is going to be like that, with a radius of 30. So what's missing here? We're missing a bracket. Okay, and then right after this border, we're gonna have a content padding. Okay, content padding. So this one, let's call constant of edge inserts. We want to do symmetric here, symmetric, and then horizontal we want to get 16.0, and then vertical we want to do maybe 8.0. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it. So let me just save this. This could be it, our floating search bar. Okay, now it's time to add it in our home screen. All right, now back in our home screen here, we want to put it here. Okay, so here we're only going to show this, because if it's like this, there's no need to show it. But when we scroll here, that's when we want to show it. Okay, so let's do that. So we're gonna check if is scrolled. Okay, so if it's scrolled, we want to get our floating search bar. Okay, so the floating search bar here on arrow pressed, we're gonna call our function of setting state. So on arrow pressed, we need to scroll to animate to the bottom. Okay, so here what we want to do is we want to get that scroll controller, scroll controller dot animate to, and then we need to animate here. Okay, so first of all, here we want to animate to 0, and then the duration, let's have a constant of duration, constant of duration, which is going to be milliseconds, the same way we are now animating. So with that, let's do 500, and then now we need to choose the animation type here. Okay, so let's bring this down, and then let's also bring this down. So the curves, we want to call our curves dot what are we going to use? Maybe let's use the ease in. Okay, so curves dot is in this one, or let's choose the is out. Okay, and then we close it out like that. We can put a comma here, And then on change, we know that this returns a value. Now this one, we know that we have to set state for the search query to be the value, and then that's it. So this is how we're going to show this floating search bar. We can put the commas there and there. Okay, now if we hot reload, once we move this, okay, let's just, okay, you can see that it's there. Okay, so once we scroll up here, the search bar appears here, and scroll down here, we still have a search bar. You see, that's what we want now. Now this one here, if you click it, it's going to return to normal. Okay, remove this, and if you just don't want, if there's a lot of this that you have scrolled, now for quick reference, you can just do this, and then it returns back to the top. Okay, so yeah, that's it, guys. We have just put the floating search bar. I think next we need to put the carousel here to show our cursor. Or before that, I think we have to show our floating action button here. So maybe we can do that in this video. Okay, so let's quickly do that. That's going to be just below the search here. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So here we're gonna have a floating action button like that. Now this one also, we don't want to call it like that. First, we want to call the, we just want to add it here. Okay, so if we, okay, it seems like we can't add it here. We have to add it after the safe area here, below the safe area. So let's bring this down. Okay, so outside here, it should be inside the scaffold. So let's call our floating action button. Okay, now you can see that we are calling it here. So this one, let's have the animated builder, because we want to hide it, the animated slide. Okay, animated slide. Okay, because when we are scrolling, we want to hide this. Okay, so let's bring this down, and then we bring also that down. Next, we want to put the duration here. Okay, so maybe we can start with the offset. So the offset is going to be, if it is scrolled, we're going to have the constant of offset. So this one, the x is going to be 0, and then the dy is going to be 2, and then else we have to do 0. Okay, because we don't want it to go anywhere. So here we have to do offset dot 0. Okay, now the duration, we have to do constant duration to 200 milliseconds. Okay, next we want to give this a child. Now this child, we're going to have an animated opacity. Okay, animated, let's go animated opacity. Okay, so here let's get started with the opacity and the duration. So the opacity, what we want to do is, if is scrolled, because we want this to always disappear, if it is scrolled, we want to be 0, else we want to be 1. Okay, now the duration is just simply going to be the same. Let's copy that, then paste it here. Okay, now next, after the duration, we want to give it a child. Now this child is going to be the floating action button. Okay, great. Now here in the floating action button, the on pressed, you know what's going on here. That's where you're going to navigate to, so navigate to create a wallpaper screen, to the create wallpaper screen. Okay, this is what happens when on pressed. Okay, now after this one, we can add some like more variables for the floating action button. So first, let's put a comma, then bring this down, and then bring this down. So this one also has something like a tooltip if you want it. So let's see, just after this floating action button, there's on pressed, and inside here it should be the tooltip. This one, we can create what we want to show here. Let's say create wallpaper, if it's going to be an extended floating action button, And then let's also have a child. So the child is going to come from constant of icon, which comes from icons dot add. Okay, add like that. Okay, we're going to have that add icon. Okay, now here we need to I think we're missing a bracket here. Then we can close this out. Okay, can put a comma here, and then that's it. That's going to be our fab button, floating action button. Now if we hot reload, you can see that we have a floating action button. Now if we scroll, like if we scroll, this one is going to go away. You can see if we come back, if you scroll down, it's going to be showing. If we scroll, it's going to go away. Okay, so while we are scrolling, it's not going to be there, but if we scroll back, the floating action button will show. Okay, so that's it about this. We've just added the floating search button and the floating action button. In the next one, we're going to add the cursor that will conclude our UI for the home screen. Okay, so yeah, so thank you guys, and see you in the next video.